Welcome back, Supers, to another Shark Tank Tank Tales interview episode here on the Joe Pardo Show. Today we have not one, not two, not three. But we have three total. I can't count. It's the end of I've been up since 4 a.m. We got three entrepreneurs that have been in the Shark Tank on. Oh man, what episode? What I should have looked that up.
Season 13, episode 23, man.
Ding ding. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you for filling in. Looking out. We have the founders of Chill and Reel, which I think was a really interesting concept. I'm not a fisherman kind of person, but I think for somebody like me who can't sit in a boat and like rock back and forth and do that, on the ocean or sea kind of thing, I could definitely see getting into doing that more, where you just have the line and your drink, beverage of choice with you. So without further ado, let's jump right in with the first question. What was your relationship with Shark Tank prior to getting to be on Shark Tank? Jacob, we'll start with you, then Chase, and then Chris.
Yeah, I had watched Shark Tank from about season 1 to 5 religiously, and then after that it was just every once in a while, if it was on, I was watching it, and I was watching reruns all the time. So that's kind of where I was with it. Not a hardcore Shark Tank guy after about season 5, because life just caught up with me. But I loved watching every episode and rewatched a lot of them.
I love it. Chase, what was your relationship?
Yeah, so kind of like Dad, I definitely watched it a lot growing up. I've always, I felt like had the spirit of an entrepreneur in me ever since I was, 12 years old. I was helping my dad mow yards, and just wanted to make my own money. And seeing people go in front of those, billionaires, millionaires, and pitching their products. So it was very inspiring, and it always just seemed like, oh man, that'd be an awesome thing. How incredible would that be? And to say that we've made it, we've been in front of those sharks, it's incredible. So my relationship with Shark Tank, like I said, I just kind of watched it growing up, was always inspired by it. And it's a surreal thing to say that I'm now, Shark Tank entrepreneur.
That is awesome. So Chris, what was your relationship with Shark Tank?
Kind of the same. I watched it from early on for a lot of seasons. I don't know probably about same as Jake, maybe 6 or 7 seasons. During the first part, or during that period, I had my own business as well. So I was sort of benchmarking, and I had worked with some other clients as well. So you kind of benchmark what the sharks say versus kind of what real life is and how they're valuing things and businesses. So it was, as a business person, I've sort of always enjoyed the show and sort of fell off, I guess, a little bit too. Watched it off and on, from there. And then, of course, once we got the call, had to binge watch every single season. But
well, yeah, I mean, it does seem to go like that, where I'm actually in the same boat. When I left my family's business, I binge watched the first 6 seasons, like while working out, and any time I had a chance to watch anything, I was watching Shark Tank. And then I went and took action, because my time for doing all that started to dwindle dry, and I started to have the ideas of what I wanted to do moving forward, and that turned into, okay, I don't have time to sit around and watch shows like literally at all. And then I didn't come back to like season 10, and then only a couple of episodes, and then until I started doing the channel here, that's when I really started mowing through them. And I think you make a great point about not that they don't have business experience, but like the real world versus what the TV portrayal of real world is, kind of like actual police work versus like watching Law and Order.
right.
Yeah, it's like they're both doing the same thing, kind of, but the reality is different than the dramatization of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting, watching it from afar and kind of making your judgments on it, and and even saying things like, I'd never go on Shark Tank. Those guys get ripped off, or whatever, things like that. And then your perception afterward ends up being similar but different, right? But,
yeah. I mean, well, hey, look. I mean, every deal has to go through its due diligence, and that's when I don't actually own the patent, or I didn't actually invent this thing. I found it, or somebody is licensing the thing. In fact, I just did the episode on Zips wine, and he kind of like totally threw the Copa di Vino guy under the bus and was like, he don't actually own the patent on that. He's got it from a dude in France. So, that we went to, it was like, here's ours. Do we infringe on your patent? And they were like, yeah, no, this is different than ours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. But things like that shake out, because that's the producers can only do so much, and will only do so much because they want good TV too.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely plenty of diligence along the way, of the kind of things you have to, kind of spell everything out to them. But I could see how some things could slip through, or they let them slip through. Who knows?
Well, it's kind of like American Idol, where they let the bad singers go through because it makes good TV too, right?
Right.
So how did you find out that you wanted to go on Shark Tank? Did they reach out to you guys, or did you apply?
Actually, since he's not on right now, Chase was telling me, man, we need to go on Shark Tank. We need to go on Shark Tank. And I said, man, just apply. That's such a far out deal. That's not going to happen. Well, he applies, and after about a month or two, go ahead. Now you're back. You can tell the story since you're back.
Okay. Wait, sorry, I was exiting out. What was the question?
It was about how did we get on Shark Tank? What was the first steps? And
honestly, in a lot of things like this, the hardest step is just the first one. And I was just kind of sitting at the house one day, drinking a few beers, and just said, you know what? Let's see what happens. And just went online and applied, and just not thinking anything of it, thinking that we had a cool product. We'd sold, quite a few to friends and family, and a lot in the Oklahoma, area. And a few months later, me and Dad were down in Shreveport, Louisiana, working the state fair down there. And, it was a slow day, and I was just checking my email, and I got an email from a producer, and just went, Dad. They want to talk to us. And that's how it started, man. Just I spruced it up a little bit. I said that we're a fun family business, and I mean that's what we are. And we just we happened to be one of the ones that they came across, because when they were talking to us, I mean there's tens and tens of thousands of applications that have to come through, and my beer goggle writing, I guess, got us through.
Well, that's awesome. So once you found out that you were going to be on the show, how did you start to prepare your pitch and balance? Because I mean, obviously, it's a ton, not only just paperwork and hoops and meetings with producers and things, but balancing, preparing all that with your lives and this this budding business. Who wants to?
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh yeah, Chris, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's something where you can't not, right? I mean, it's you get the invitation, and you can't not do all the things that they're asking you to do. So, I sort of took the whip and started that. Here's what we got to do, fellas, and. As far as the pitch goes, I think that was a bit of an iterative process a little bit. Chase, since he's sort of ends up being the stand-up carny guy for us at these trade shows, he did sort of a first pass. I, used, whatever, kind of gussied up, lose my advertising background or whatever to gussy it up a little bit, and then kind of got that going. But we're in different places. That was probably the biggest challenge for us, is that I live in Austin. These guys live in Sand Springs, Oklahoma, but also I think maybe Chase mentioned before, he spends a lot of his summer in Destin selling chillin' reels as well, Destin, Florida. So we had to do this thing, where we're not together and figure out the pitch, and we can practice the pitch over Zoom. So that was probably one of the bigger challenges. But going through all the hoops and steps, it's a very detailed process where you got to just look close and pay attention to detail and just kind of get stuff done.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely is an intensive process, and that added weight of not being in the same place to be able to pitch or to work on your pitch at the same time. I know I've talked to others that ran into the problem of, like, with Zoom, there's a delay, there's a slight delay. So working out certain, depending on what your pitch is like, it can be kind of difficult. I know my solution to that was that you should, like, in the case of 2 people, not necessarily 3 people, record your video so that you can practice in real time with that, like, without the delay. Because that's where it's like, oh, if you're like, you say one word, then I say the next word, and then like I said, chill and reel.
That would have been such a good idea. That would have helped so much. Why didn't we do that?
We weren't that smart. Clearly, we weren't that smart. But yeah, because ours was really choreographed. I mean, we had to be talking together and playing off each other. And there's a point where I, toss a beer to Chase, and so I mean, we just really had to be in sync. So before we, when we actually taped our actual video that we did, both those guys were in, both Jake and Chase were in Destin. I flew to them, and we actually taped it together. But all the practice stuff happened via Zoom.
Fun fact about that Destin trip. So me and Dad were actually down there to sponsor this kayak tournament down in Destin, and we had drove 13 hours. And right when we had pulled into town, the guy calls us and says, "Hey, hope you're not too far away from home. There's a tropical storm coming in, and we've got to move it back." And this was also a week that, we had to have, the 3 of us together. And, Uncle Chris is in Austin, 6 hours or so away from where we live. So, that normally isn't a problem, except for this weekend. We happen to be 13, 14 hours away. So he had to hop on a plane and fly to Destin for a tournament that never even happened.
Oh, that's heartbreaking, considering how, like, it's, considering it's not like an hour drive or something.
Yeah, it was a long trip.
It was.
This was before, we had a real good calendar of shows and our online marketing stuff, really going. So at the time, we were still balling on a budget. So it was 3 of us in a small hotel room for the weekend.
So let's fast forward to you guys are getting ready to walk down the hallway, and how are you guys all feeling about the about your pitch and your chances? I mean, you went in wanting, what was it, 300,000 for 10%?
Right.
Actually, before you get there, like, how did you come up with that valuation out of the gate?
Well, we had talked to a couple of different people, and or I had talked to them, and they had told us, with everything that we were paying ourselves, along with the gross that we had made and the percentage that we were spending on advertising as a young company, they kind of gave me a formula, and then went on to explain that if your numbers are right, and I was like, well, they are. I've had them prepared. And they said, well, then we would value your company at $3.1 million. And okay, well, and my deal personally, when we went on, I was like, I just want a shark. If I could get one for 10% for 100,000, I would have jumped on it. But then talking to some other people, they were like, oh, don't go in way undervalue or they'll think something's up. You better go in at a pretty straightforward value. And so that's kind of where I was like, well, okay, I guess that's what I'll have to do then. and so that's kind of where we got our numbers at.
No, I think that, I mean, it makes sense, especially if you're willing to actually negotiate and not be like, well, I we could do 12%. And they're like, well, we were more like talking like 20 or 25. Yeah, you don't want to undervalue and because the odds are they're not going to bid up. The odds are not in your favor that they'll bid up. It will bid down way before it will ever bid up. And so I think that's a strong, I think it's a strong position to be at, because I mean, we all know that they don't like 5% deals, and even 10% is kind of iffy, especially when you're in that 300,000. I mean, the higher dollar value you go up, the less likely you are to get that deal. But so going down the hallway, what are you guys feeling? Chris, why don't you lead off here?
Well, I was kind of drugged up. I was having. That's when we taped last summer. I was having I had a herniated disc, and I was having severe sciatica. And in fact, the flight to LA was just the most excruciating trip that I've ever been on in my life. So I had non-narcotic pain meds, and I was drugged up. I mean, that whole day when we were waiting to go on, these guys will tell you, I mean, I was just like foggy headed, and I had to ask these guys several times after we taped, like, did we talk about this or that or whatever? Because I don't remember much. So I was pretty foggy headed. I do have memories of it, but my biggest thing was, I think, we were sitting and just kind of getting ready to go out there. I had a cheat. I probably still have it somewhere, a cheat sheet of just all the stuff I had gone through and pulled all the questions, a bunch of different questions that they always ask, and some that they don't always ask, but they, and I'd written out the answers, and we kind of each had our own, divvied off, you'll answer this, I'll answer that sort of thing. So I was studying that pretty religiously, especially because I had a lot of the business questions before we went in, just hoping that my brain would be clear enough to answer.
No, I love the fact that you prepared which question, who would answer which questions ahead of time, because there's sometimes you almost get that feel like, especially because they're taking an hour plus and editing it down. Like one person never got to talk, or said they were in the pitch, but then maybe they said 5 words or something in the final cut.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have it. Like I said, I think I do have it. Still in my backpack. I keep it here for just kind of, I mean, it's just it's a whole,
love it.
It's still here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Jacob, how are you feeling going down the hallway there?
Well, I'm not the best speaker in this whole group. While we were practicing, I was always screwing up my lines, and I was just a nervous wreck that I was going to go out there and forget and lock up. I mean, I think there was 1 or 2 people in the episodes we had watched in the past that just locked up or just couldn't, and I could just see that being me. And I was just, please don't mess up. Please don't mess up. And if we hit our pitch and everything goes deal or no deal, if we go out and do everything we can do, I'm happy. If I screw up, I'm going to regret it for the rest of my life.
How about you, Chase?
Man, I was confident. At the end of the day, I think that we had the perfect team going in there. Between, Uncle Chris, he's the numbers guy. He's the guy that, he got us to the tank. I might have gotten a little buzzed and applied, but Chris knew every in and out of, all the financial things that we had to get done to make it to the tank. Dad is the blue collar fireman that people just love, the inventor of the product, and I'm just the Tommy Boy comical salesman. I mean, I'm the guy that sits back, I've never seen myself as the hero, but I'm the guy in the back that makes fun of the hero's shirt, and that's who we had going in there. So we had a perfect response for everything, and I mean, I also had DMX blasting in my headphones, on the way to the studio, so
Rest
I
in
was
peace.
ready to go. So I mean, I was confident. Yeah, it was pretty nerve wracking. I mean, it's the biggest moment of our lives. What's to worry about? It's only your future. But I think we killed it. At the end of the day, we'd practiced, we were ready for it. We knew what we were getting into, and I mean, I'm happy with what we did. I'm very happy with how it all ended up.
As you should be. I mean, just to get to the tank and then also to have it air at all is a huge accomplishment. Because I mean, obviously not everybody does get the air, and not everybody makes it there. Period.
We didn't think we were going to. By the way, Joe,
No?
No.
Well, we were second to last episode of the season. So I mean, we were. I mean, we taped in whenever that was, July of last year, and then we're waiting almost a year until we aired. And we, every week we're just kind of waiting to find out if we're going to air or not. And of course, I'm kind of the weirdo analytics guy, and I had figured out I'm looking at previous seasons and going, okay, with our blend of sharks, they had 6 episodes last season, and so they only have 6 episodes this season. And so I'm checking the box, okay, how many have they had so far this season? And they had their 6, right? And so I'm like, well, crap, it's not going to happen. And so I had just totally thought, it was not going to happen. And then I think, well, I'm not sure when Chase dropped off. Jake, I think, dropped off the day we got notified that we were going to air. I think that's when he dropped off. And I had already, I think the week prior, said, no, it's not going to happen. And so Jake calls me at like 9 o'clock Central, calls me, and he's all giddy on the phone. He goes, "We got on!" And I totally thought he was prank calling me, because I've never heard Jake with this kind of high-pitched, giddy voice before. And he's like, we got on. I'm like, shut up! You're pulling my. I was cleaning the kitchen. Wasn't looking at my phone or anything. No, we got on. I'm like, look at your phone. And sure enough, we got on. So yeah, we had written it off, but yeah, I thought he was drunk calling me.
That is a key point that, people that watch this show know that you don't find out for, I think it's 3 weeks prior to airing, and when you're the last, in the last like bottom 5 episodes or last 5 episodes, it's a long time from when you recorded.
I mean, the season started in October. From October to May, you're just checking your phone every Friday, like. So it's tough. It's tough.
What's funny though too is like Chase was saying, we felt really good, even though we didn't get a deal, so there was, you're kind of bummed about that sort of thing, but we felt great about the experience in the tank. We're drinking beer with the sharks, we're having a good time, everybody's laughing, and so then it's like you're going, God, it's definitely gonna air, right? It's gonna air. And then we totally wrote it off, and so these emotional highs and lows were just ridiculous.
Oh, it was a roller coaster. It was like an absolute roller coaster, man. But we finished on the top part of the roller coaster. Like, that's all that matters. I was saying, for months, we did too good not to air. We had them laughing too much to not to air. I mean, we were too dadgum lovable to not air. I mean, like, if they don't air us, ABC just doesn't like good TV. But they aired us, so ABC obviously likes good TV.
Well, so I don't know if you guys realize this, but in season 12, there was an episode from season 11 that they aired where you could tell because the sharks are all on top of each other, and so that company went a whole like year and a half before they ever got to air.
Yeah,
I probably thought they were never going to get the air.
Oh, I wouldn't be. Oh my goodness. That was the most nerve-wracking thing.
Well, and there's other, because we're friends with some of the other Shark Tank companies now too, but some of them that applied several years in a row, or didn't get on and had
Click and carry. She seven times. Yeah. She 7 times applied to be on the show.
So, I mean, it could have been worse.
Well, hey, it could always be worse. It could always
She
be
just
worse.
needed a little bit of that liquid confidence on the keyboard, you know.
So when you did get offers though,
Yeah.
right? So to walk me through the thought process there, as far as like why because the offer that was given up was the 300,000 from Robert, 300,000 for 10% and a $2 royalty in perpetuity, which I don't blame you for not wanting to take that one. But countering back with 15%, and then he comes back with 35%. 35%.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we had our plan when we went in, and I knew what we were going to go to, and 20% was there. That was really it. 35% was just. I mean, like I said on the show, you're cutting my throat, man. It just that would kill us. So we didn't want to go that deep in with him. I mean, it just the evaluation wasn't there. So that was it.
The perpetuity thing, it's weird because Robert doesn't always show that greedy side, but it seemed pretty apparent, especially when he wasn't able to walk it back. I mean, I could get behind him wanting his $300,000 back or something, or some kind of multiple of that, and it, maybe walking it down to like a buck, a chillin' reel, and just so he gets, I don't know, whether it's 600,000 or 400,000, 500,000, 450, and that being on the right side of good. But $2 forever in perpetuity. Like, is he gonna go out to these shows? Is he gonna be hawking them? I don't.
Well,
technically,
technically, he said as long as we're having good times. And since then, I've been like, okay, so if the company goes under, does that mean we don't have to pay you anymore?
Or how about this? The minute we sign off, we go, man, it ain't fun no more. I'm not having a good time.
Not having fun. I think the bottom line is that, we're 3 guys that were, aside from Chris, because Chris has experience in this, me, Dad, Chris, we're pretty much just winging it, just like, let's see what happens. And the fact that we did 1.6 million in sales in the timeline that we did, from pretty much just waking up every day, winging it, we're going to do these shows, we're going to advertise this way. And, the Sharks mainly had a problem with how much we had spent in advertising. And if they couldn't help us with our return on ad spend, then what's the point of us being there anyways? If we're 3 random guys that could still, how many companies come out and, turn out, profit in their first year, like we did. And if they couldn't help, get us a better, return on ad spend, then, at the end of the day, what are we even doing there? I think that if we just had, if we had a redneck on the Shark Tank, crew, if we had Jeff Foxworthy or Kid Rock up there or something like that, we would have gotten an offer. But none of them could really just wrap their heads around the product. Damon, we've been told, Damon's the fisherman. Damon's the fisherman. If you get on Shark Tank, Damon's the fisherman. And even Damon, I just remember him looking at it the entire time going, I just can't wrap my head around it. And it's because he didn't have that redneck inside of him, like good old Dad did here down in Florida, because, he packed a dozen rods with him when we went to the beach, but the beach was too crowded. And when you want to fish, you're going to find a way to do it. And that's what we're doing. We're not selling, like we said in our pitch, we're not selling you something to catch a marlin. Don't overthink it, man. We're selling you a koozie that you can fish with. Like, good times. That's it. And I don't know. They just 2 city boys didn't get it. They just didn't get it.
Well, so if I'm giving them a benefit of the doubt, I didn't get it either. So,
But even you've caught fish on them now. I mean, and it's a good time. And it's a good time.
It is a good time. I have had a good time, but it's like I've told, Chase and Jake, many times. I've sort of told this story where when Jake was telling me about his invention, I thought, oh, that's neat. You guys will do great. You'll sell it at the fairs and the shows and whatever, and it'll be good for you. But it wasn't until I actually recognized and saw when they got some local press in Tulsa and just sold a ton of these things over a 2-day period because they were on the morning news. And their website crashed and all the stuff happened, right? That I went, oh wow, there really is a target audience for this thing. This really has a fit, and so that's what did it for So I would think, though, to your point, Chase, that if they saw the numbers, they saw that there was a lot of people buying these things, that it would have clicked for them. But it didn't.
Like I say, it shows we're just selling good times. I can't make you have one. Sorry, man.
I love the attitude, Chase. I think that when it's funny. I actually just did a video because on Facebook, Barbara Corcoran showed her her page of the 8 questions that she asks, and in my video, I'm like, it doesn't talk about the customer at all. The closest thing was what's going to hook the customer, but who is the customer? That to me is the most number one important thing. And what I love about what you guys are doing is, you brought up Jeff Foxworthy, who invested in the Hillbilly brand way back in season 2 or 3 or something like that. But that's just a brand of clothing. That's just literally a logo, right?
Yeah.
And then you're placing it on hopefully high quality products, et cetera, and you're bringing the party to get it going. But the difference here is this is an actual product. This is an actual product that's not just a logo on a shirt or a hat or a whatever you put the logo on, and you're also at the same time bringing the brand power of that at the same time. So that's what I really admire about it, because it's not just a product and it's not just a brand, but it's both in congruent. And you guys, Chase, you're definitely great at selling. I mean, I'm not a fisherman at all, but it just seems like it would be a thing to do, to just stand out in the water and do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I get told, quite a bit, after I do my little sales pitch at these shows, people go, man, you are just the long haired, and I normally have a lot more facial hair. Unfortunately, I recently went up a little too high, so I had to shave my mustache off. So I'm normally a long haired mustache redneck, and people go, dude, you just look like the perfect guy to sell this product. And the thing is, I'm on the road a lot. I miss a lot of things, but I love it, man. One of the things I will never forget, a few years ago, back when me and Dad, back when Chill and Reel was first starting up, me and Dad spent the summer down in Destin a couple years ago when we were selling them out of our backpacks. We would go down to the harbor, we would, pitch out a line, catch a fish. Somebody'd see us catch a fish, we'd sell a couple out of our backpack. And there was this guy that came up to me and he says, hey man, let me buy you a beer real quick. My little 6-year-old girl just caught her first fish ever, and she caught it on the Chill and Reel I just got from me an hour ago. And, she was just an adorable little 5-6-year-old girl that, just caught her first fish ever. And, that's one of those core memories. And the fact that I can sell a product where a 6-year-old girl can have just as much fun with it as the drunk uncle at the cookouts, I mean, the sky's the limit, man.
Well, I think the good point there, especially, and the smart thing that these guys did early on, and even I think when the prototyping was happening that Jake was doing, Jake, you can talk about that, but was just getting in front of actual people and actual customers and hearing them say, what is that? How can I buy it? Or, how much is it? Doing some price testing just out there, on the wall, out of their backpacks. All that, just getting face to face with customers is really, I think, one of the big reasons that we were able to translate that success into when I stepped in and was able to do launch the e-commerce business. It's because of that understanding of the customer, and well, frankly, these two guys are our target audience too, so that helps.
They say do what you love, and dadgummit, I love drinking beer and fishing. So
yeah. Yeah.
No, because I could definitely see where they, because I think sometimes the Sharks get in their head that everything has to be able to sell itself on the shelf by itself without a lot of demonstration. And I could see where, if you're not putting it in maybe a tackle shop or a bait shop, where it's like if you had it in like on the boardwalk or something like here in like the Jersey Shore, I could see where people wouldn't necessarily get it just by looking at it, unless you had like a video playing of people just hanging out and having fun right above like the display of children reels. So to me, I could see where the Sharks could get that like kind of sometimes get that stuck in their head that like, oh, this doesn't necessarily, because it doesn't, to your point, it's a koozie, right? And it has like this wart thing on the on the side of it. Like, okay, well, that could be anything. I don't know what that is unless you show me. Oh, now I know how to use it. Oh, wow, that's an experience now. And how much are the chillin' reels?
On our website, they're $14.95.
There you go. For $14.95, I can start having fun with my friends. Like that's a pretty low bar of entry. Right, and I can keep my drink of choice cool. So, I think it makes sense as people get to know what it is, because it's just one of those things that grows on top of itself upon itself as people get that recognition of like, this isn't just a koozie with a thing on the side of it.
Right.
So you guys end up passing up on Robert. You're walking out of the tank. Anybody feel? I mean, clearly Chris was doped up, so he probably wasn't feeling much of anything. But who is anybody feeling regret or anything like that?
Yeah, I was kind of shocked, because I thought going in, I thought they're going to fight over this. That was my thought. We've had 5 bazillion people tell us at every show, you guys need to get on Shark Tank. Those sharks will eat this up. They will love this, And, I mean, we've heard that forever. And, I mean, ever since we've had the product, it's a Shark Tank product. And whenever we walked out, I was like, man, they just didn't get it. They just didn't. They couldn't comprehend it. And I think that was the biggest. I don't know that there was any regret. I walked out and I told both of these guys, I said, whether we get on the show or not, hey, you guys did a great job. I said, everything went as good as it could go. And I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I was definitely upset. Whenever I first found out that we were making it on, I was stoked. I was so excited to be in front of them because, kind of like what Dad said, I thought they were going to be fighting over it. And after it was over, just, leaving without a deal, I was, it's like got hit in the gut. Just was not feeling happy at all about it. And then, we fast forward, a year later after we've aired, and all these people are walking by my booth going, man, you guys did the right decision. They were too greedy. You all got an awesome product. You guys rock. So, at the time, I obviously wanted to end things with being best friends with Mark Cuban and sipping Mai Tais in Mexico with him. But now, one of the things that I tell people is, when they walk by, hey, y'all were on Shark Tank. And I was like, yeah, we were. And, oh, you didn't get a deal, did you? I say, no. What I tell people is, yeah, we got an offer. We caught a shark, but we threw him back in the water. It wasn't good enough for us. So, I love it, man. We caught a shark, threw him back in the water. Just because Kevin O'Leary didn't like us, America did. And at the end of the day, that's what matters.
He's Canadian anyway, isn't he?
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes sense.
At least I think I'm pretty sure he's Canadian, isn't he?
I don't know.
I
don't know where he's from, but I can guarantee that guy's never baited a hook in his life.
Yeah, Quebec, Montreal. Yep, that's him. Yep. So that is probably why.
He holds his pole and says, "Can you put the worm on?"
Yeah. Look, I guilty. I am that guy. But I just
great.
It's
Insult
just
the
not
host,
something.
Chase.
It's all good. It's all good. It's not an insult at all. It isn't. Because look, I think it's important to own where you are and who what you have. And I just didn't. I mean, I grew up going. Actually, I think maybe when I was a kid, I went fishing, like fly fishing, I think like once or twice with my dad, and maybe I baited the hook. I don't recall. I was below the age of 6, so I don't know.
It's all right. You probably baited the hook though.
Yeah, after 6, I was like, yeah, I ain't doing that. but I have been fishing a bunch of times. It's just not my thing. But anyway, I think it is important that you did you guys stayed true to yourselves and stuck to your guns as far as like, yeah, we didn't give up 35%, even though a lot of deals end up, especially with Robert, end up falling through anyway. But maybe his 35% wouldn't have fell through because he would have been like, that's not such a bad deal on my part to get that. Maybe if he had signed over at 20%, he would have been like, yeah, I'll get back to you. But hey, TV is forever. Reruns are
That's
forever.
right.
But
Absolutely.
you guys did such a great job, left such a great impression. So knowing all that, going into the episode and finding out, obviously like 3 weeks before the episode airs, tell me about your party? Did you guys have a viewing party? Did you get together? What'd you guys do?
Yeah, we were in 2 locations. I'm in Austin, they're in Tulsa area, so they had a pretty big party, which they'll tell you about. I had a small one at my house here in Austin, so had just some family and friends that were over. That was but they can tell you about theirs. But for me, my biggest concern, I think all of our biggest concern, was the edit. As we knew our experience, we knew we had a good time, we knew it was fun, but we also know and had heard stories about bad edits. And are they going to make us out to look like a bunch of bumbling idiots, or is it going to come off good? I personally was a little concerned because, I'm sure you've heard of the stare down once you walk out there. They don't start taping right away. You stand there for a little bit, right? Well, I was pretty nervous once we hit that ground, and like I said, I was a little drugged up too, and all of a sudden my lips started shaking, like I was like nervous shaking. Once we got going, it was fine. But I was nervous. I was concerned that they were going to have some close up of my nervous lip shaking, and it was going to show up as like crying on the air or some. So I'm like all freaked out about that kind of stuff. But that was our party. It was fun. It was good. It was a great time. Because I'm again the nerd. I had a screen next to the TV that had our website analytics, so we could watch and see what happens during the airing of the show. So that was fun too. But then these guys had their show.
Ours was a little bigger. It was so we thought it was going to be about 50 people, and we went up to the golf course and we thought 50 people will be there, and it ended up being about 200. And it was hard to watch because there were so many people and people were talking, and I actually didn't really see the episode until a few days later, because I was trying to watch it, but I'm not good. I'm pretty hard of hearing anyway, and with all the people, I couldn't hear anything that was being said. And for the next few days, probably 3, I was filling orders all day, every day, and never had a chance to watch it. So it took, 4 or 5 days before I actually got to sit down and watch the episode. but it was, once again, it was a good time, a lot of fun. News crew came out and videoed at the watch party, and just, it was a great time.
Yeah. So the day that we filmed, I was ready to, punch through a brick wall. The day that we were coming on TV, I threw up about 5 times before it came on. I was so nervous. Because like Chris said, it comes down to the edit, and I was so much more nervous the day that it was getting aired than the day that we filmed. And just like that, I honestly, still to this point, I think I've only watched the episode. I watched it, at our watch party, and then one other time later that night, whenever I got home, and that was it. Because at the watch party, it's just kind of a surreal moment. Like that's not me. That's not me up there. That's not chilling real up there. So yeah, I didn't really get to take it all in at that moment. Just kind of, I just blacked out really at the moment. It just so surreal. Just that's not us. And yeah, that was my watch party experience. Just walking through like, this is a dream. This isn't really happening.
I mean, to Jake's point, I hate watching stuff with other people, because especially like in those, because I've been to like watch parties for people that have been on TV and stuff, and it's super annoying because like they'll like talk quieter in this episode, and like I can't hear what they're saying. Mm-hmm. I want to know, like, it's kind of like watching the Super Bowl. At this point, I just want to watch it at home by myself. Like, I don't really want other people around, because they're all talking during the game instead of, and then not talking during the commercials. And I'm like, I could care less for the most part for the commercials. So I just want to see the game, and I want to hear what they're saying and all that. And so yeah, I definitely resonate with you, Jake, on that. And it's a good problem to have there, to have to, not being able to watch it for a couple of days because you're busy, packing orders.
Oh yeah.
The main thing I wanted to hear was what they said after we left. Because, for the most part, I know how it went. I was there. But I just wanted to see what they said after we left, and to see Kevin O'Leary get bleeped out, say, yeah, that was a real piece of gotta respect their sales, but it's a piece of man. So, fun fact, we're actually about to go to Vegas here in a little bit for this Shark Tank reunion. One of the, they're making this yearbook, and one of the questions was, if you were stuck on an island with a shark, which one would it be? And I said, Kevin, for the sole purpose that I could use the chillin' reel to catch food, to just to be that petty, like, hey, the thing that you called a piece of crap is saving our lives right now. You're welcome.
That's a good nicer turn than I thought. You were
because I'm that petty, man.
Just to fact check though, Chase, because you can go back and look now. I know you've only watched it once. You said since then he didn't get bleeped. He did say crap.
Oh no! At the very end, I promise you, we can watch it together.
Okay, we'll watch it.
Bleeped. He was bleeped after we walked out.
I don't think he was, but we'll go back and we'll watch it together.
I'll bet you $1.
Well, so
this is how it works with us, Joe. Just so you know.
Gotta love a family business, man.
I live a family business. That's what this hat's from, and there's a ton of hats from the other businesses behind me. So no, what was I gonna say? Oh, I know about the reunion. I don't know when the reunion is. I didn't get my invite yet, but I'm just saying.
Oh, was that not supposed to talk about that?
I don't know.
It doesn't. We're not talking about when. So anyway,
talk about
sometime.
What?
Everybody's exactly. There's a thing, and it's not happening. So anyway, so since airing, because now it's been a little while, right? Because it's been all summer. How's business been going? And what's the future of Chillin' Real looking like?
I'll take the first part of that. I'll take the first part of that. You never know, what kind of opportunities come from this outside of just straight up consumer sales, right? So there's of course we've had, big hit when it first aired, and we got a rerun over the summer. So those sorts of things really kind of hit and drive sales. And one thing I will say is that we do absolutely feel fortunate to have been on the show and been aired, because we got hit, and you're probably familiar with, for small e-commerce companies, that got hit hard by the Apple iOS 14.5 update, where it became really, really hard mid-year last year to target effectively on Facebook and Instagram with ads, and which is where we built things. So it wasn't long after we actually taped where we weren't getting nearly the return on ad spend that we were getting previously, and a whole bunch of other things, as were thousands of other small businesses. So we were super grateful that this came, and we got this free airtime to sort of get that engine going again. And now with recognition, that helps a ton. And so for consumer sales, that's given that a huge boost, and also a bunch of other opportunities sort of related to it. In addition to that, we participated in Walmart Open Call in June, the month after it aired. So that was a pretty big deal, which I think having the As Seen on Shark Tank had a lot to do with their warm welcome of us. Can't talk much yet about what exactly will happen with that, but that was a great meeting to have, and we had a great meeting with them, so that's good. And then we've got these guys are doing shows all over the place, which are getting bigger and bigger as they go. So I'll just talk, I guess, from the direct to consumer, as well as we've gotten a ton of promotional inquiries to use these things as promo items, where companies put their, I don't know if I have one here. I don't have one here. We'll put their logo on the backside.
Oh, okay.
There's like that right there.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. We got the whole Walmart thing couldn't have anything to do with their clientele, right? I'm just just spitballing here.
Of course.
Not at all.
What about on your front, Jake?
Yeah, it's Shark Tank has helped with notoriety more than anything. People recognize it. They every time that we're out, they know what it is now. Not very many, but there's still. There's a lot, but not very many when you count everybody in the country. We're still at the point right now where maybe 1 out of 30 at a fair outside of our own state would go, "Hey, I know what that is," but a year ago it was 1 out of 200. So it's getting better, and sales are definitely going better than expected this time of year. Quarter 3 is usually a struggle just to stay afloat, and it really hasn't been this year. So that's always a nice thing. When you're not having to dip in to pay the bills in quarter 3, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Yeah, I would definitely think so. Also being, you guys being able to travel to the different shows in the South where it's warm, even when it gets colder. I would think the only time that maybe would be slow-ish would be like January to March, because even in the South, it's not necessarily that warm everywhere. But, it's not that you're not going to do no sales, just not as much as, say, like leading up to Christmas or through the summer or through the fall, even the early fall, especially in the South and in the spring. So, it's kind of really all year. I would think it's mostly an all year round thing with maybe a slump through January through March, depending on, where you're at.
Ice fishing is a big deal.
So, yeah, I just spent the last 2 weeks up in St. Paul, Minnesota, and luckily, this was just a roll of the dice. We got good luck, but our episode re-aired the Friday before the Minnesota State Fair, which is the second largest state fair in the country behind the Texas State Fair, but they have the largest attendance per day. for any state fair in the country. And for that episode to air right before that started, I mean, normally, like what Dad just said, you know, maybe 1 out of every 30 will walk by saying, "Oh, I saw you." It was nonstop, Joe. It was the greatest show I've ever done. I mean, all day. We were there for 12 straight days, 12 hours a day, and thousands of people walking by going, "Oh my gosh, I saw you on TV last week. I just saw you on Shark Tank last week." Like, yeah, you did. You want to buy some chillin' reels? So, you know, it was great. And one of our main focuses is that, you know, we're not trying to sell a product. We're trying to build a brand. And Chillin' Reel is slowly becoming a brand that people love. You know, we're starting to sell more of our merch at shows. You know, I'm starting to bring, you know, shirts and hats, you know, to our shows, and our hats are selling faster than anything else. I mean, I can't get my dang dad and mom to make enough for me, you know. But that's the thing, you know, that's us. We're building a brand, and yes, Shark Tank definitely helps with that. It was, you know, to say that we're a Shark Tank company now, it's incredible, and people are buying into the good times, you know.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear, and it's yeah. I mean, that's real. I did not know that about Minnesota having the second largest. What was the term you used for it? State fair.
So the Texas State Fair has the largest overall attendance, and Minnesota is second to them. The reason that Texas has the higher attendance is because their fair is 23 days long. Minnesota's is 12.
Wow,
and
23
yeah,
is a long time.
Oh yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that next month. That'll be a good time. But every day at Minnesota, they would come and give us a little sheet, you know, with like the morning, you know, the daily announcements and stuff like that. But they would have, you know, the attendance on there too from the day before, and the last Saturday before it closed, I think they set a record. It was over 250,000 people were at this thing. It was like 1 mile by 2 miles of just straight people. It was the craziest event I've ever been to. And for the love, Dad, please get us like 3 booths at this thing this year.
That is awesome. I've done so many shows over the years where there wasn't that many people, you know, and then
at the whole thing.
At the whole thing, let alone the people that we actually needed to speak to, which were like maintenance managers or, municipality leaders and things like that. And it's like maybe a couple of them are like floating through the entire day over like, you know, each day. You're lucky to see them. And it's so I've been to all kinds of like state fairs and stuff when we used to sell tractors too, Coyote tractors, and that, you know, it doesn't necessarily get that many people to those events as 4-H fairs and things, but man, but that sounds insane.
It's a grind. It's a grind, man. It is. And you know, one thing that something this one guy said to me that kind of stuck with me, you know, I was going through my little sales pitch and he said, "No, I already got a fishing pole." And I was like, "What? You only got 1 pair of shoes?" You know, you know, one of my little comebacks to him. And he said, "Yeah, but I actually got to work for my money." And I sat there, I was like, "Man, I'm on day 8 in a row or whatever of 12 straight hours in a building without AC, like 13 hours or so from home, you know." But it's a grind, but I love it. And one of the things that I've told my dad and, you know, Chris is I know we will succeed because I'll drive corner to corner across the country and work, you know, 100 hours a week if I need to get this product in front of people. And that's what we're doing. You know, Chris, it's like, I don't know how he does it. He's the marketing guru of like this century. And, you know, he's in front of his laptop at all times and is always working. Dad's always doing the behind the scenes, you know, inventor stuff on top of being a full-time fireman, and Dad to 2 other younger brothers that are probably out doing something that is probably illegal. I don't know, throwing cheese at cars or something. No, I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, they're scholars. They're scholar kids. The 2 others. I'm sorry. I just like to pride myself as like the best kid. That's what I like to do.
Hey, it's got to be somebody, right?
It's got to be somebody, you know. Someone's got to be the favorite child, and dadgummit, it's got to be me, I guess, you know.
Have you figured out why we have this guy at the shows yet, Joe?
Yeah, not even in the least. My question to you, Chase, is: do you have anybody else that goes with you, or is it? It can't just literally be you, right?
So
I have one other guy, Tyler.
So one of my good friends, Tyler, he was a bouncer with me in college. We were roommates for a little bit. We went from throwing people through doors together to now selling chillin' reels together. He was working in the oil field back when we were, after I graduated from Oklahoma State, and chillin' reels started, getting a little busier. We started getting some more shows, and we brought him on to help fulfill orders, help pour all of our sinkers, because all the sinkers that we get, we pour, mainly Dad. Dad probably pours about 99% of them. So we brought Tyler on to help us with shows, and now we've gotten to the point to where, if it's a 3-day show, for the most part, we'll work them, by ourselves. Tyler will work a 3-day show. I'll work my own weekend show. But if it's a long fair, 12 days, 3 weeks, or whatever, anything longer than that, we'll do them together. And he's about to work the Tulsa and Oklahoma City state fairs by himself, because I'm doing the Texas State Fair essentially by myself, and they're pretty much at the same exact time. So we're grinding, but at the end of the day, he said he's kind of in the same boat as me. He'll do whatever it takes to not go back to the oil field, and I will do whatever it takes to not go back to an office wearing a tie, being clean shaven every day. So it evens out, the hours. It's something that we all got to do. If you want to be in the 1%, you got to do what the other 99 won't. And we're lucky enough to do that with something that we love. Chris might not be the most outdoorsy guy, but come on, man, we're the funnest coworkers you've ever had.
I mean, my recommendation is I would get somebody else to come with you to Texas if it's that big. If it's the largest, you need, because you can't go to the bathroom. I mean, like,
absolutely. Hey, Dad, that reminds me.
Anything.
Poppy said that he could come work in Texas with me. Grandma's coming to Texas.
You gotta have 2 people. That just like sounds way too much. Are you gonna be there for 23 days straight?
23 days. So
24.
24. Oh, I guess 24 days. Woo! It'll all be worth it on that 25th day.
Yeah.
Jeez.
On the 25th day, it'll be worth it. And then after that, we've got
good points, like hotel points or something to be staying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dad gets them all. But after that, we close out the year. We've got a couple shows in Vegas. I'll be doing the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation show just right above the NFR Cowboy Christmas, and that's 10 straight days. And then we've got Tyler set up a booth at another show going on at the same time. I can't remember. Dad, do you know what that is?
Stetson Country Christmas.
The Stetson Country Christmas, and that's 10 days as well. So that's, we'll be working our own booths for 10 days in Vegas. And, last year at the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation show, we killed it at the time. We were there for 10 days, and we cleared a little over, 10,000 or so. And for us leaving Vegas saying that we made 10 grand after 10 days, we were happy with that, because a lot of people go to Vegas and lose their house in 3 days. So we left after 10 and had 10 grand. So,
well, thank you guys. So I don't want to take up too much more of your evening here. I really appreciate you guys getting together, all 3 of you, which is usually I'm lucky if I get the 1 out of 2 or 3. So I appreciate you guys taking the time. You're always welcome to come back anytime at all. If you want to, any last thoughts you want to share on how people can get their own chillin' reels?
Well, that's pretty easy. Yeah, either on our website, chillinreel.com, or on Amazon. We're both places. Just Google us.
Chillinreel.com, or unless you're lucky enough to catch the in-person special at one of the shows we're working,
Oh, yeah, go
see us in person.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, guys. I really. Oh, real quick, how did you guys find out about the the video?
About
which
what?
one?
Like about my video.
Your video?
Yeah.
Dude, the night we aired, I was just on YouTube looking up Chillin' Reel, just everything, just seeing if there was anything coming up.
Yes, that's how I spend my Friday nights is making these videos. Yeah.
Oh, wait, one question I gotta ask you though, Joe.
Yeah,
is
sure.
why did the cover picture you have to use me looking like somebody just kicked my dog? I just look so sad in it.
The clicks, man. The clicks.
The clicks. I get it.
You know,
I
When
get
I
it.
told him, though, that is exactly the look
Yeah.
on his face after we walked out.
I was, well, yeah.
That was the look.
I just saw the picture. I was like, I just look like my dog just died.
Well, that's, you know, you want to look like, you know, you want to have a emotion, right? It's all about faces, and
Right.
that's what it's all, to me, that's what it's all about. So, you know, whatever the most emotional look is, and now I actually I don't recall what your thumbnail exactly looked like, but was there a shark in it as well?
Well, if anything, that just says that I've got the better face out of the three of us. So,
You know, I'm gonna pull up while I'm talking, but no, I try not to find ones that are make people look dumb, or like, oh, they had like their tongue sticking out or something, because like they're you're obviously, you're three humans here, right? And you know, you're real people. You're not playing characters on the show, even if you're playing amped up versions of yourself to you know, because you're on TV. That's understandable. So I just think it's really important to make sure that we're, you know, pulling photo. Oh yeah, there was a picture of there was Robert and you, yeah, and you did look, the look of concern.
I see the tears in my eyes, man. It's glistening. And that incredible Hollywood light. At least I look tan, though.
Well, there you go. Here, I can share it up on the screen here. So yeah. So
I've also lost 20 pounds since then, though.
woo! Let's go.
I can see my
bet
jawline
standing
a little
there,
bit more.
You know, melting in the heat and all, standing there and hustling the chilling reel. Yeah, it's gonna happen, man. Moving those boxes. But yeah, so again, thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Welcome back anytime at all. And thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. I greatly appreciate you. So I'll see you in, let me change the camera here real quick. I'll see you in one of these two videos over here. Take care and go be super.
Thanks for having us, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.